Welcome back to episode 2 of Canto 5. So, since I had my original channel, YouTube has done all kinds of fancy bells and whistles things with streaming, and I'm not that tech savvy, as you figured out, because it's just been bumble after bumble. If I had somebody who was my editor, this would all be great. Now that I think about the YouTube channels of people that I really like to watch, like that I consider real YouTubers. And I'm like, gee, this is really hard. I'm impressed with all your editing. I thought it was all about bells and whistles. Now it's just about getting it on the internet. So there was something to do with, I didn't have a stable internet connection and it cut me off at 40 seconds. So that'll be like a little tease that you can, you know, ease your way into. And I'm going to get right into reading again. I had some great pointers, some great advice, but the idea is that we're getting the information to you guys. We're getting the reading done. So we're going to go back to Canto 5. We're going from the first level of hell, which was purgatory, limbo for the unbaptized, and now we're actually going into the second level of hell, which is going to be lust. And there's a lot of metaphors in here. It's going to be good for me. This is the third time I've read it in a week. So hopefully I'm getting better and better at this. In the description below, I put some very simple vocabulary for my ESL learners, but there are some really good words in here for those of you that are getting ready for ACT or really building your vocabulary. I'll point those out as we go. So here we go. Let's read on the porch, in the breeze, in the afternoon. I hope you're in a comfy, cozy place and you're ready to read. From the first circle, thus I downward went, into the second, which girds narrower space, but greater woe compelling loud lament. So it's a smaller space, but greater pain. Minos, who is like a demon, he's from history, literature, waits awful there and snarls. If you go to my Instagram, there's a picture of him. Waits awful there and snarls, the case examining of all who enter in. So he's going to evaluate everybody. He's the gatekeeper. And as he girds himself, dooms them to their place. He assigns their place in hell. I say, each ill-starred spirit must begin on reaching him its guilt in full to tell. And he, omniscient, now that's a good ACT word. Omni means all. Niscient has to do with cognitions. It's knowing, all-knowing, omniscient. As concerning sin, he knows what sins they've committed. Sees to what circle it belongs in hell. So he assigns them their place in hell. Then round him is his tail as often curled as he would have it stages deep to dwell. And evermore before him stand a world of shades, and all in turn to judgment come. So he wraps them up, and he reads their sin, and he decides where they belong. Confess and hear, and then are downward hurled. O thou, because it's a spiral downward. O thou who comest to the very home of woe, when he beheld me, Minos cried, seizing a while from utterance of doom, enter not rashly, nor in all confide. By ease of entering, be not led astray. Why also growling? Answered him with my guide. Seek not his course predestinate to stay. Another good ACT word, predestined. To have your destiny already figured out. Predestinate to stay, for thus 'tis willed, where nothing ever fails of what is willed, nor further speech essay. And now by me are agonizing wails distinguished plain. Now am I come outright where grievous lamentation me assails. He hears all the sadness. Now had I reached a place devoid of light, raging as in a tempest howls the sea, when with its winds blown thwart each other fight. The infernal storm is raging ceaselessly. So in this space, in this level, it's wind and a storm and tossing and turning. There's going to be a metaphor with that. Sweeping the shades along with it, and them it smites and whirls, nor lets them ever be. Arrived at the precipitous extreme, precipitous right on the edge, dangerously on the edge. In shrieks and lamentations they complain, and even the power divine itself blaspheme. Blaspheme is to speak against the truth or speak against God, to say, God doesn't exist, would be blasphemous in the Christian belief. I understood that to this mode of pain are doomed the sinners of the carnal kind. So he's beginning to figure out who's in this circle. It has to do with carnal, it has to do with the body. or who or their reason let their impulse reign. So they let their physicality, their desires get away with them. This this circle is about lust. I'm sorry, it's springtime and I think pollen must be out here. As starlings, birds in the wintertime combined float on the wing in crowded phalanx wide. So these bad spirits, driven by that wind, float up and down and veer from side. So imagine all these bodies that have come for hell. They're just tumbling around in the air. Like I kind of imagine those NASA space flights where you see the astronauts flipping over and flopping around. They're blown in this tumultuous wind. Nor for their comfort any hope they spy, or of rest, or even of suffering mollified. It's not going to end. They can't just settle down and be comfortable. And as the cranes and long-drawn company pursue their flight while uttering their song, so I beheld approach with wailing cry, shades lifted onward by that whirlwind song. Master, what folks are these, I therefore say, who by the murky air are whipped along? She, first of them, his answer thus was made, of whom thou wouldst a wider knowledge win, or many tongues and people's empire swayed. He's talking about somebody that, it's probably Helen of Troy. So ruined was she by licentious sin, that she decreed lust should be uncontrolled, to ease the shame that she herself was in. Oh, no, she is Semiramis, of whom 'tis told she followed Ninus, and his wife had been. She was the wife of Ninus. Hers were the realms now by the Sultan ruled. The next, so he's going through the people he sees, notice they're women. The next is she who, amorous and self-slain, unto Sychaeus dust did faithless show. Then lustful Cleopatra, you know her story. Next was seen Helen of Troy. If you read the if you read the Iliad or the Odyssey, that's from that. Helen, for whom so many years in woe ran out, and I, the great Achilles, knew. Who at the last encountered love for foe. Paris I saw, and Tristram, in review 1,000. These are all people that gave up everything for love, for passion. In review 1,000 shades and more, he one by one pointed and named, whom love from life withdrew. And after I had heard my teacher run o'er many a dame of yore and many a knight, I, lost in pity, was well nigh undone. So he feels for them. Then he's going to say, O poet, if I only might speak with the two that as companions high, and on the wind appear to be so light. And he to me, he answered, when they shall come more nigh, them shalt thou mark, and by the love shalt pray, which leads them onward, and they will comply. Soon as the wind bends them to where they stay, I lift my voice, O wearied souls and worn, come speak with us, if none, the boon gainsay. Then even as doves, urged by desire, return on outspread wings, and firm to their sweet nest as through the air by mere volition borne, from Dido's band, that's the Aeneid, those spirits issuing pressed towards where we were, athwart the air malign, my passionate prayer such influence possessed. O living creature, gracious and benign. Benign means not harmful. Us visiting in this obscured air, who did the earth with blow incarnadine, if in the favor of the king we were? Who rules the world? We for thy peace would pray. Since our misfortunes thy compassion stir, we get you, we understand you, you loved each other. My native city lies upon the strand where the sea descends to the river Po, for peace with all his tributary band. Love in a generous heart set soon aglow, seized him for the fair form was mine above, and still it irks me to have lost it so. Love which absolves no one beloved from love, so strong a passion for him in me wrought, that as thou seest, I still its mastery prove. Love led us where we in one death were caught. For him who slew us waits Cana now. Unto our ears these words from them were brought. When I had heard these troubled souls, my brow I downward bent, like I'm trying to downward bend, like you scrunch your eyes. My brows I downward bent, and long while musing stayed, until the poet asked, what thinkest thou? And when I answered him, alas, I said, sweet thoughts, how many, and what strong desire, these to their sad catastrophe betrayed. Then turned once more to them, I to inquire began. So he's going to refer to this woman named Francesca. And the story of Francesca is that she was reading a book next to her brother, her husband's brother, and their lips came together and they kissed, and then they felt desire, and then they were unfaithful, and then, of course, they're judged, and everything is destroyed. So it's this is the example of lust and how it destroys us. Me with my compassion unto the tears inspire, but tell me, at the season of sweet sighs, what sign may love, and what the means he chose to strip your dubious longings of desire. And she to me, the bitterest of woes, is to remember in the midst of pain a happy past, as well thy teacher knows. Yet none the less, and since thou art so fain the first occasion of our love to hear, like one I speak that cannot tear restrain, as we for pastime one day reading were, how Lancelot by love was fettered fast. They're reading the story of Lancelot and King Arthur and Guinevere. They were cheating lovers. Guinevere was married to Arthur, and Lancelot was Arthur's best friend, and they fell in love. Another example of this, sinful love. All by ourselves and without any fear, moved by the tale our eyes we often cast on one another, and our color fled. But one word was it, vanquished us at last. When how the smile long wearied for, we read was kissed by him who loved like none before. This one, who henceforth never leaves me, laid a kiss on my mouth, trembling the while o'er. The book was Galahad, and he as well who wrote the book. That day we read no more. They kissed. And while one shade continued thus to tell, the other wept so bitterly, I swooned away for pity. This is the speaker. So he passes out, and as dead, this is the second time he passes out at the end of a canto, and as dead I fell, as a corpse falls, fell I on the ground. So here we have the circle of hell too. So would you go to hell because you're not baptized? Would you go to hell because you fell in love and that love was, wrong because they were in love with someone else? So here we have our two circles of hell. What else are we going to keep going down into? So I will post this, and hopefully this one will make it, and it won't be cut off at 40 seconds. And hopefully I will finally figure out, or get one of my children, guilt them into helping me with this, because I don't have any money to pay for it at this point. So thanks for reading along with me. If you haven't subscribed and this is helpful, do that, because I really am trying to grow the channel. I had 18,600, I think, when I got cut off, and we're at 73 right now. So help us get to 100. That would be great. Thanks for joining, and I will read to you next time. See ya.